Welcome to your family this week with Precious Caleb. I'm your friend and I'm interested in your marriage, in your relationship, and in your home working out fine. Today we are looking at the changes in your family member. The changes in your family member. You see, it's rather odd, it's rather absurd, it's rather offensive, funny, and and uninteresting to sometimes assume that whenever we talk about change, we are talking about what occurs in the lives of other people, what occurs in other places, and what does not concern us. But the truth is that change occurs everywhere. Change happens to everybody. Change can happen to anybody, anytime, anywhere, anyhow, and for any reason. So when you hear the word change, don't keep assuming that we are talking about what will happen to another person. No. Change can happen to you. Change can happen to your husband, can happen to your wife, can happen to your children, can happen to your parents, can happen to people around you, can happen to your friends, can happen to people close to you. So change is real, and change is something that lives with us. In fact, we should even add change as one of the characteristics of living things, because everybody undergoes change. From time to time, change occurs. But one of the problems we are having in our relationships, in our homes, in our marriages, is the denial of the reality of change. Some don't want to believe that change is real, that change can happen to them, that their spouses can change, that change can occur in their family setting or in their relationship. So when what they used to witness before is not available, they feel offended. They start creating sins. They start making troubles. And they start, raising voices or, just causing troubles for everybody. Some people don't want to believe that the wife they married 10 years ago doesn't even need to display right to change, but change will eventually work out in that wife. Some don't even believe that it is possible for their husbands to change. And some don't even believe that they have changed. But I'm telling you that you're listening to me now. You have changed. Things about you have changed. So many things around you have changed. And after listening to me, there are some other changes that will still occur. So if you don't absorb the truth, you'll be creating stress for yourself. Change is real. Change is what lives with us. And change is what will keep managing around us. And somebody keeps wondering what this change is. I tell you, change simply means the process of becoming different from the person or from what you used to be or from what you are now or whom you are right now. If you look at yourself now, you discover that just stand in front of mirror. You discover that you're looking totally different from how you looked 10 years ago. Okay, maybe significantly different from how you used to look 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You can't tell me that you still look the way you were looking when you were in secondary school. Sometimes I look at myself, I look at my pictures when I was in secondary school. I say, wow, could this be me? I look at my pictures now. 20-something years in marriage, I look at my pictures when I just got married or when I was about getting married. I look at them and I say, man, how can these two pictures be talking about one person? What has happened to me is change. My husband looks different from how he used to look before we got married or the initial time. Yes, you can still have some spots of resemblance, but change has actually occurred. So we have different types and different occasions, different situations, and where change can occur. But if you don't admit that this is real, this is what is happening, this is something that is inevitable, you'll be creating troubles in your relationship. You look at your wife, you say, oh, this is not the wife I married 20 years ago. This is not the person I married 10 years ago. Excuse me, the person you married 10 years ago, you met the person 10 years ago. But 10 years after, you're meeting another version of the person you married 10 years ago. The young man you married 27 years ago, 30 years ago, that young man has grown to a father. He has grown to a big man. He has grown to a middle-aged man. He has grown to, in fact, he has even started having gray hairs. His beard has come out plenty, and so many things are changing. So if you live in the past, you will not be able to manage the present, and you will not be able to move into the future. So tell yourself that it is normal for change to occur. I look at some ladies that are struggling on anti-aging drugs, all the supplements, packaging their face and all the stuff because they want to look like the person they wish to be or the person they used to be. At the end, they see themselves becoming a different person. What has happened is that change has happened. Sometimes we cause the change. Sometimes the change comes on us. And this change I'm talking about, everything is subject to it. Everybody is subject to it. Everything is subject to it. Okay? It's inevitable, it's unavoidable, and it's bound to happen to anybody, everybody, anything, at any time, anywhere. Sometimes, anyhow. And now, I want you to know that the change I'm talking about now, that is becoming a person or a thing different from what used to be, how it used to be, or how you are right now. You is stepping into another version of you, another brand of you. Or sometimes it can be gradual. There are people that change gradually. Yes. Sometimes the change can be rapid. Even our children in our homes. There are children that change in their development rapidly. You see a child, but this child, wow, has grown so big. See you rapidly. There are some that change, gradually. Even in their behavior, in their adjustment to realities of life, even in their formations, in their age development, the displays of growth and things like that. Some theirs will be gradual, some theirs rapid. Even in character, yes. Even in our cognitive abilities, yes. So many things. When we touch different types of change, you discover that, man, I just need to admit that this can happen. And if you understand this, it will give you peace of mind. You will love your wife the more. You will love your husband the more. You'll be at peace with your parents. You appreciate your children. You see, there's things, I can't bait my children right now. If I'm baiting them, I'll just be giving them their self-respect because they have changed from the babies I used to carry and clean everywhere, put hand everywhere, clear everywhere, rub this, rub that. They have changed. They have moved. They have moved to children that have rights to their privacy. I can't just do like, even my small girl, sometimes when she's dressing up, tension everywhere, you don't come and knock on the door. Who's that? I say, what exactly is this girl hiding? It's not what I've seen. I've been washing and been arranging when she was younger, but change has stepped in and she's no longer the little girl I used to carry on my back. I used to breastfeed, I used to give feeding bottle and all the stuff. Things are changing. Human beings are changing. That is the process of becoming another person or another version of a thing or a person. Okay, different from what the person used to be, what used to be, or what will likely be, or whom the person will likely be. Okay, so sometimes the change can be planned. Sometimes the change can be planned. There are some people that plan the change they engage in, they go into. Yes, there are some that plan the change. Somebody can decide to walk towards becoming a business person instead of being a civil servant. The person has changed from being a civil servant to a business person. And he planned it and he was not taken unawares. Then their own change can be unexpected. Somebody that got involved in an accident and wow, all of a sudden, the person is struggling to walk with crutches. The change was not expected. The change was not planned. But change has happened. Somebody was walking on the road and all of a sudden ran into old classmate that has, become well established in life and say, enter this car. What's this? What are you putting on? What is it? I'm just trying to. Say, no, enter. I have a property I've been thinking I'm trying to relocate and I need to put somebody there. So all of a sudden just put the person there and say, please stay here. Don't leave. What do you have? Say, so please go and get. And automatically the person has changed. That change is a positive one. It's unexpected change, but it has happened. So I say that change can be gradual, change can be rapid, change can be planned, change can as well be unexpected. But whether planned, unexpected, whether rapid or gradual, in all, we have change in the positive or in the negative. Some change from being good wives to bad wives. Some change from being good husbands to bad husbands. Some change from being beautiful women to manageable women. Some change from being the charming princess to whom it may concern husbands. Change occurs, and the change that occurs can be in the positive or in the negative. So have that in mind. But just know that in all, change is an inherent aspect of life. It cannot be avoided. It cannot be rolled out. It cannot be controlled. It is an inherent aspect of our lives. All right, now let me give you different types of change that occur to family members. I hope I'm blessing somebody. Today, we're having Your Family This Week with Precious Caleb. It's an aspect of Family on Focus International where we reach out to people, singles, married, separated, divorced, widowed, every week, giving them some tips on how they are going to roll with their families the week, month, year, and years to come. So we believe God that we are blessing you. Today we are looking at the change in your family member. We said that change is the process of becoming somebody or something different from what used to be or what is happening right now, And we say that change is inherent, is unavoidable, is inevitable. We cannot throw it away. It is something that lives with us. In fact, it's inside of us. Change is part of our lives, and we cannot ignore it. But my offense here is that some people, when they hear change, they think that change occurs where others are, that change cannot occur where they are. No, change can occur anywhere, to anybody, at any time, at anything, for any reason, anyhow. All right, so we look at different types of change that can occur in your family member. Now, let me start with this one. That is the physical change. Excuse me. There must be some adjustments in the physical appearance, the age, weight, health condition, maybe other physical transformations in the life of your family member, including in your own life. Physically, a time will come, you notice that your complexion is not how it used to be. Your skin is not as smooth as it used to be. Or maybe that your skin is now smooth, that your complexion is finer, that you're having more beautiful shape, that you can't control your tummy again. And notice that physically, you notice that there are things around your physical, body that are not the way they used to be. So tell yourself that there are some that you don't have control over. Like married men, you married your wife because of pointed breast. Excuse me, no matter what your wife does, no matter what you do, a time will come there will be compulsory change in the stature of your wife's breast. That is the truth. And you say your husband used to have smooth skin. A time will come, compulsorily, your husband will be having something we call beards, sometimes mustache, sideburns, and all the stuff, depending on the one that is okay for the man. And sometimes you notice that the beard is becoming strong, like brush. Yes. Why? There is something we call age and factors that go with age. So when you are married or when you are in a family, give the members of your family, that benefit of adjustment in age. Age meets everybody, and everybody meets age. No matter how we try to cover it, no matter how we try to lie to ourselves and possibly deceive people around us, age will always meet us, and we must meet age. So if you are in your 20s, prepare your mind that you enter your 30s. Of course, you're not dying young. If you're in your 30s, prepare your mind that you get to your 40s, you get to your 50s, your 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, you can even get to 100. And at every stage of your age, there are some things that will suddenly show up. And those things that show up are part of what we are talking about today. And we call that change. You witness change even in your weight. Something that because when they were younger they were slim, that they will remain slim all through their life. It doesn't work for everybody. There are some that can remain slim all through their lives, but when you look at them, if you check them statistically, notice that there are some pounds that have added to their weight. So it is normal. There are some that they are putting on weight is not because they eat too much. It's not even because of being lazy or being depressed. No, could be that naturally, as age comes to us, some things drop in our body organs, in our systems, and we cannot handle it. But notice that we have added weight. So tell yourself that weight is part of change, physical change. And some too, as they get older, they start looking slimmer. I know some that were, I know at least a particular person that I know that was huge. But the time he started adding, coming up in age, he started losing weight. He was not sick. Age was just adjusting his physical structure. So know that our physical appearance, can be influenced by anything, and change contributes to that. Okay. Yes. Another thing is that you notice some changes in the physical appearance of yours by some transformations that take place in your physical appearance. You see some transformation. Sometimes when I look at my mom, I look at my mother, I say, I look at my mother's pictures. I remember the time I was younger. I'll be saying, is this that my mother? Yes. Things have changed. Like I told you, I look at myself. I say, now me be this. Yes. And you self looking at me, you know that sometimes you look at yourself and say, and some people, if they don't understand that age is something that must come to meet us, change is also something that we must face. They get angry with themselves, or they get angry with people around them, or they start struggling to find out what caused the change. No, some changes must come to you, and some other changes, you go and meet them. But just know that change must come. Am I blessing somebody at all? If you have this understanding, there are some quarrels that will not come up in your house. There are some quarrels that will not come up in your relationship. You will not be quarreling with your wife or your husband about some changes. This is not the way you used to look. This is not the way are you the way you used to look when you met your husband or you met your wife? So everybody is subject to this thing we call change. Okay? Yes, we have emotional change too. There are some people that used to be soft-hearted, but life has caused them to embrace change. Now they are hardened. You say, you're saying, it's true. Sometimes when life deals with you, you force yourself to become a different person. So sometimes some emotionally, they see themselves changing. If you see a woman that used to cry all the time, now she doesn't cry anymore, no matter what the husband does, no matter what the fiance or anybody does, she doesn't feel it. She changed because emotionally she has adjusted. So change is all about adjustment. The adjustment could be willful, compulsory, compelled adjustment. So sometimes people change because of what happened to them. Some change because of what they chose to carry out. I hope I'm blessing you this afternoon. My name is Precious Kilba. I'm your friend, and I'm here to tell you that change is inevitable, and you just need to prepare your mind in case you see any change in a member of your family. Okay? Yeah. So I said emotionally, somebody can witness change. Yes, the person that used to be soft-hearted is no longer soft-hearted. The person that used to be hardened is no longer hardened. Some people that have mental health issues, they have mood swing all the time. Sometimes they are excited, the next time they are like, yes, change happens, and it can affect somebody's emotional state. Another type of change is the psychological one. The psychological type of change is the one that confronts one's cognitive capabilities. Somebody's ability to reason, the person's thinking pattern, the person's way of reasoning, the way of taking decisions. That is an aspect of psychological change that can occur in the life of your family member. There are some things that will happen to somebody. The person will begin to reason differently. The person will begin to think in a way that the person wasn't doing before. The person that used to have plenty people around, you now see the person doesn't think in that direction again. The person likes being alone. Something must have happened, or the person must have been exposed to some things, and the person tried to choose being alone. That is change that has occurred. Okay? That's psychological change. Sometimes people change their belief system. People that were believing a particular thing, psychologically they change. They move from that, like some people that believed in a particular political party and they were causing trouble, disturbing everybody. It has come to a point that some of them, I saw one that was telling me that he has died though. That that all the noise he was making, he didn't know. I said, but that time when we were telling you, you thought that we're analog. Now it don't hook you. You were thinking that it will hook just some people. It's affecting everybody. The rain is beating on everybody's roof. The person is now thinking differently. That is psychological change. Okay, the person's belief system has been affected. Okay, and there are some children too in school. Maybe you have a child that has not been doing well academically, and you're complaining. There is possibility for that child to experience change. Yes, change. We call that one change in a child's learning ability. Yes, it's a psychological change that can occur. I have somebody in our family in those days that was very slow in learning. But before we knew it, immediately he got to SS2. He became so bright, cleared his paper. He's doing so well now. He's done his master's and was like, but at that time he wasn't like he couldn't read or write. So a time will always come and a change will occur in the life of your family member. And I say that this change could be positive, it can as well be negative. And this time around, we say that we can have psychological change, and that psychological change can affect somebody's thinking pattern. Okay, the person's way of thinking, the person's way of reasoning, belief system, the person's mental capability, the person's cognitive ability, even the person's learning capability. Yes, we also have somebody's psychological change occurring, the aspect of decision making, being able to find solution to problem. That is psychological also. And we say that such can happen. Now we have another type of change that dwells on societal demand, societal activity. That is the social change. Social change can occur to anybody, whether you are religious or not. Sometimes you see yourself meeting new sets of people. Maybe you're just moved from one location to another. You meet new sets of people. You start up fresh relationship. Okay, you start off fresh relationship. You meet people that you have never met before. So in that social change, you notice that you are getting involved in a different community. You're seeing different kinds of people. Maybe you just relocated or you jabbered. And over there now, you're seeing the type of people you have not seen. You see people that will come and be saying, shimmery, 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 shimmery. And you just need to key into that shimmery, shimmery, shimmery side. Okay? That is social change that must take place. And maybe that time you used to walk on the road when you were in the other part of the country. You walk on the road, get to one corner, stand there, and you donate. Now you don't do like that. So social change has come to meet you. Now you will not try it. You will not try it. In those days, you'll be inside a vehicle and you drink juice after through the window, the glass. You just throw the packet. Fiam. Now you have come to another place where you dare not try it. If you try it, you just know that this is not your country. Are you getting it now? That is another type of change, social change. It happens where you have a different, you see yourself developing the other types of skills, social skills. You see that you're beginning to get involved in some things. Maybe now you can be on the internet. You can browse. Before, you weren't browsing. Before, who dash you phone? That change has come. It wasn't like that before. In those days, I remember in those days, we'll go to phone booth. And stand there. You wait for your own turn. And you just pray that the person will be around, or you just call and somebody will pick, or you say, oh, I wanted to speak with my mom. Please, when she comes to work tomorrow, tell her that the money she sent through the DHL is through this one. I've received it. That I say, let me thank her, or something like that. But now, you just stay. There is change in the society right now, that you don't need to go and stand at the phone booth and wait for your time. Wait for your turn to turn the thing like this. No, that one has passed. Society has, come with the change that we cannot run away from. And that is the change in our network system, in our communication system, in our way of transacting business. Some people stay at home now. They don't own a shop. They don't even own vehicles, but they will stay at home and make so much money. Allah will be entering the account like waiting. Are you getting me now? That is another type of change that has come to meet us. It is social change. We stay here and we interact with people. I know some people that got married, to people they have not met physically. They met them on social media, and they got to love themselves, and they learned themselves, understood their ways of life, and felt that they could live together. They got married. And like that. So we have social change. Okay, yes, we have social change. It can also bring us to overall social interactions. You used to, in the morning you wake up, you go around and say, hey, hi, when I don't wake up, don't wake up. You can come to a place where you don't even greet anybody. You mind your business. You walk into your house in the morning because of the environment, because of that area. The social demand is that you mind your business. You enter your house, you come out in the morning, dress up, enter your vehicle, drive and go. You may even stay in that area for 2 years. You don't know your neighbors. Sometimes you meet your neighbor in the office where you're working. You don't even know that your secretary is your neighbor. Are you getting it now? That is the change that has occurred. That in those days, you go around the morning, you go around with your twin stick in your mouth, you carry your wrapper and tie across your breast and say, hey, Eka, I say, I can't greet you, and I don't wake up. See as you pour water like this, I'm all for you. Papa Nkechi, una bolachi, hey, ma, iya beji, Eka, omo ni nko, ìyàwó ni nko, ọkọ ni nko, hey, oda, this and that. Now, you don't have time to say, hi, bonjour, comment ça va? Ça va bien, merci, au revoir, Nobody has time for that anymore. You have seen yourself in an environment where you don't even bother greeting anybody. There are some people you greet, they get offended at your greeting. That is social change that has occurred to you. And you just need to admit that that is the reality on ground. Are you getting it now? Some people that did not believe in change, that change is inevitable, when they meet it, they say, no, I cannot. No, change is a structure that will cause you to adapt and adopt the system. So in change, you adapt and adopt. So just tell yourself that change is here with us and you cannot throw it away. Did you get that? All right, I give you the 5th type of change. That is developmental change. It is type of change that doesn't really talk about maybe the social one, not talk about maybe your brain, but it's about you adding to what you knew, what you used to be. There is an expansion in your capacity. There is expansion in your capacity. Okay, developmental change can occur in age. Yes, you notice that you have started having baby, you have started having wrinkles, you're beginning to develop pimples. My girl was that way. They worried. I said, Mommy, see pimples on my face. I looked at her, I laughed. I said, and that is how it is. So that is your own development. She said, Mommy, how can I have pimples? Can you imagine? Just few pimples and I won't rest. Every time she come and I said, what is your problem? Pimples come and go. Now that these ones have come, allow them to enjoy their duration. They will eventually go. It's a developmental change that has come to meet her. When she was younger, she wasn't seeing pimple. She didn't know anything like pimple. And that is how it is. Okay? Yes, I have some girls around me that will come and say, Mama, I noticed something. When I do like this, so I say, hey, it has come. It is change that has come. That is developmental change. You are developing. You see your boys in the house. Now, when they talk, that tiny voice they used to have, they don't have. When your son talks now, you think that is your husband that is talking to you. That is developmental change that has come. One day, my nephew entered the house. I thought when he talked, he said he was talking with my children. I was like, hey, Daddy, have you come back? Have you come back? By the time I raised my face, I saw him, he smiled. He said, it's not that you. I said, hey, that is developmental change that has come. It affected her voice, his voice. Are you getting it now? It affected his voice. But if you think that your child that went to secondary school, that you sent to secondary school in JS1, that in SS3, by the time he comes back, he will still be speaking with that tiny voice, Mommy, I've not eaten. You're just living in delusion. Because the truth is that change will meet your child there. I told you that change can occur anywhere, can occur to anybody, to anything and at any time for any reason, anyhow. Did you get that? This is your family. This is Precious Cleveland. Today we are looking at the changes in your family member. All right, so I said one of the changes that will occur is one we call developmental change. You notice that your daughter is beginning to have hips. Your daughter is advanced, her waist is beginning to make sense. You see some developments on her chest. Yes, you raise the armpit, you see small, you see wig there, small wig. What will you do? Developmental change is coming, and each stage of change has demands and demands and demands because each change comes with responsibility, comes with some requirements. When the developmental changes step in, you know that you start adjusting on your budget. You start adjusting on what you used to make room for. Maybe now that your child has added some weight that has developed, now your child that used to use 1 yard of clothes to sew skirt for, you see yourself sewing with 2 yards. Are you getting it now? So each change comes with demand and responsibilities. That, by the way, in developmental change too, we notice that there could be motor skills. Your child that could not fix something, you can now tell that your child, please go and check the oil in the vehicle, go and check water in the vehicle, please check, adjust, warm the car and come. That's another skill that has come as a result of that developmental change. Are you getting that? Today I saw my small boy outside dismantling stabilizer. I said, what is it? He said that the blender, the power cord had issues, so he dismantled the one for stabilizer and put. I was looking at the boy. I said, that is developmental change. It affects their skills. Okay. And before I knew it, he did the reconnection and started doing the blending. I was looking at him. I was like, wow, Precious, you just need to wake up. Somebody around you is encountering change. That is how it is, okay? Yes, at that time, some have cognitive advancement. Those that couldn't do well, by the reason of the development they face, they see themselves reasoning better. Yes, there are some levels of reasoning that will not occur in a child or in a person, except the person gets to a level of development that corresponds with what is on ground. You know, I had a young man around me that time that used to squander money every day. My husband would give him good thousands for him to. I was like, when I pitch my husband, I say, "Are you not spoiling this small boy?" Oh, he said, "No, it's just for him to be comfortable." I said, "Okay." One day, a time came. I said, "This person, you just need to sit up. If not, you're spoiling this child." And before we knew it, the child started knowing value for money. The child will not squander money again. You understand my point? Because there is developmental change that has occurred. Now, give that child 2,000 naira, the child will be so happy. But before, you give the child 2,000 naira, the child will be doing like, But now, let the child see 1,000 naira. The child will know that 1,000 naira cannot even buy 2 liters of petrol. But in those days, what did that money matter to that person? Are you getting it now? So, developmental change is real, and you need to admit it so that you can flow freely and peacefully with members of your family and those that you are in relationship with. Okay, yes, in your developmental change, please, I want to say this so that I will not forget it. There will be, you notice that there will be change in language acquisition. As somebody is developing, the person begins to have this ability to acquire language, understand language better. I don't know about it, but I've noticed that it's true. As somebody develops, as somebody encounters the change in development, the person can easily adjust in language learning as well as in social activities. Okay, the next about that developmental change is the person will begin to appreciate identity issue. The person will begin to have this belief that this is what he is, this is what she is, because the person has come to a level of realization. So that is another aspect of developmental change. Now I'll give you another type of change, that is life stage change. This one is very important. I'm going to treat this one briefly, but please get your pen and paper and take note. You see, this type of change, some people that do not believe in this always suffer at the end. Some people do not believe that life has stages. They don't believe that life has stages. That is why you can see a man in his 60s, in his 70s, he's struggling to wear jeans and bubble. He will dye his hair, he will put face cap and be doing yopi. And if God has not helped him to stay away from women, he'll be looking for small girls, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, to prove a point. In his mind, he will be telling himself that age is just number. No, age is not number. Just remove that one. Age is no number. Age is a reality, and it has a lot to do with our physical beings and our physiology. Did you get that now? So there are some people that have that problem. They don't believe in the stages that life can offer. So I want to put it this way: before somebody gets married, the person is at that stage. And when the change occurs in that person's marital status, the person is now married, the person has entered another stage of life. Are you getting me now? And the person should know that there are some things that naturally happen when somebody gets married. If the person doesn't have that understanding, that will be a problem. So at that stage of life, the person should stop living as if he or she is single. There are some men that are married. I look at them, I call them single married men. Because although they are married, they still behave as if they are bachelors. They do things the way they like. They do things the way they used to do things before they got married. They still bring people into their homes and sit and use their teeth and open Coca bottles of drinks and do like this. They still live without budget. They don't even know that they have people that are depending on. They spend their money the way they like. They tell you it's their money. They have not learned that they have entered another stage of life that has lots and lots of demands on them. They live anyhow they like, thinking that they are still single. Likewise, the female version of the people I just talked about now. Those ones, when they get married, they still dress the way they used to dress before. That's not just being cheeky. Yes, there's nothing wrong with you being decent, looking beautiful, but you should give some respect to the person that paid on your head to be your husband, to be your Lord. You don't just come and carry everything outside. Who really cares? How many people have stopped you on the road to say, oh, this your breast, the size of your breast is wonderful. Take 20,000 naira for showing me your breast as your person. It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. So when you get married, there are some things that you should just throw away. In the book, in the holy book, for those of you that believe in the Bible, St. Paul said, when I was a child, I talked like a child, I behaved like a child, everything like a child. But when I became matured, that means when I left the stage of being a child and got to a stage of being matured, as they're talking differently, as they're reasoning differently, as they're behaving differently. So when you leave a particular stage in your life, you should move to a level with a corresponding attitude, behavior. So when you get to that of being married, you carry yourself like married. And another life stage that will hit people is, some people do not know that a time will come. Sorry, I'm saying this, but that is the truth. A time will come, you will either die before your spouse, or your spouse will die before you. A time will come, your parents will die. It is another stage. That is the stage of life where you become either fatherless or motherless, God forbid. But that is the truth. That is the truth. When my father died, it was like, Jesus, could this be real? Could this be real? I was looking at my father's body. He was looking like he was smiling. In fact, the day he was to be buried, I was like, look at it. I was telling the ministers of God that came, it's like, Papa, it's like he wants to say something. As if his lips, he was moving his lips. I called as check. My father had gone. I was still trying to check. My mental capacity could not carry the reality that my father was no more. Are you getting it now? Such things happen. And it is a stage. I entered a stage because of the change that occurred. A stage of somebody that lost the father. So tell yourself that this is a stage. There's another stage in life. The stage of having children. You see yourself going for antenatal, or you see yourself running around your wife. Oh, hell, should I bring your food flask? Should I bring your... Oh, you say you don't want to eat garri today. What will you eat? You eat rice. This rice I brought. You say, no. Your wife will say, no, me, I don't want to eat rice again. In fact, what I want to do now is I want to eat sour soup. Like that is a stage. It is a stage. And that is a change that has occurred. And you must live in correspondence to the demand of that stage in life. Did you get that? And please, this one, please get ready to hear this one. You see, now you are in a stage where your children are around you, your brothers and sisters are around you. The time will come, all of them will leave you. They will all enter school, or maybe they will get jobs. Some of them will go for youth service. Some of them will travel out of the country where all of you are staying. Some of them will even get married. Leave your house and go to their husband's houses. Some of them will marry their own wives and move from the house. A time will come, husband and wife, you come home, you will not see children to be shouting at again. They are not there again, no. In fact, you look for children to give napkin, to dress in their diapers. Those children have grown. Are you getting it now? Yes. Like now, my mother doesn't have me and my siblings around her every day. So sometimes when we travel to go and see her, 1 week, highest 1 week, okay, let's say 2 weeks maximum, we leave, and my mother will see us going and she'll be crying. Why? She has passed that stage of having us around her every day. If you did not prepare for this one, when it hits you, it can destabilize you. And this is change that must occur. So this stage in life is a stage where you now begin to appreciate the time, the intimacy you shared or you built with your partner when the children were still with you. Because at that time, husband and wife, now two of them are there, as on a like, Mona do. Your children don't follow their destiny waka comot. If una wan fight, una fight. If una one day for peace, una dey. This one una go dey fight. Nobody will come separate una. Did you get that? And at that time, your brain will reset. That is part of that one I said that in developmental stage, a time will come, your brain will set very well. And some things you used to do, and because people were around to tell you, no do it, don't do, you would tell yourself, no do it, don't do, and you no go do. My father used to say that if you see somebody that is sweeping your compound, you'll be making your compound to be so wide. But when you know that nobody is sweeping for you, you will even reduce the size of your compound. So at that point, at that stage in life, change has come, and that change will force you to talk to your senses and stop being nasty and stop disturbing everybody. If you used to beat your wife at that time, beat her now. You see what will happen to you. Or you used to run up and down with men. At that point, to carry your leg up again, everywhere, it has finished. Everything has finished. Gara has finished. Even if you like, pour olive oil, you pour everything there. What is not there is not there. One politician say, wait, if he didn't day, he didn't day. Did you get that? At that time, your brain will set. Your brain will set. You look at your pictures, you see what you used to do, how you used to dance on social media, lift your two legs up and spread and say that you were trying to get traffic. And you know, internet does not forget. At that time, your grandchildren will come. They will be going through and they will say, Grandma, is this you? Wearing pants on social media, raising your leg like this. Grandma say, actually, because at that time your brain has set. You wish you could erase the rubbish you did when you were growing up. No, change brings us to a level where we decide, we choose to talk to ourselves and not wait for advice. You won't even need a counselor to talk to you. You don't need. You be the counselor that is looking for you to talk to you. I hope I'm blessing somebody. My name is Precious Caleb. I'm your friend from Family on Focus International, focusing on seeing how your relationship, your homes, your marriage will work, become sweet, become heaven on earth. And that is why today, in your family, this is with Precious Caleb, we're looking at changes in your family member. All right, another stage, another change that can occur in our life is the one that is cultural change. Yes, that cultural change comes with shift in tradition, shift in tradition, shift in culture. You know, some of us that are into ministry, we have, by the grace of God, we have been able to move from different parts, from one place to one part of the world to another. You have met different types of people. We have met people from different cultures. And there are some places you go to, you notice that the culture in that place will force you to change. The culture there can force you to change what you eat. Yes. It was when I came to the part of the country where I am now, I noticed that somebody can carry snail. It's not snail, that's the one they call periwinkle, one seafood, and put in mouth and do they call it mfi. Can you imagine? That is the way. Culture means way of life. By the time I got to that part of the world, in the name of ministry, I noticed that people eat such things. You carry things that look like stone and put inside your soup. When you're turning your soup into boom, 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 boom. It's not like it's bone. It's not brisket bone. It's just one boom, 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 like that. And after you do like this, something soft will enter your mouth, and you carry that one and through. I say, I no follow now. I can still use it and cook, but me, I know chop. Yes. So society, there this another type of change that can come. You see yourself eating different types of soup. Yes, and you see that I learned that you can use, it's part of leaf that you get to use. You pound it first. You use water. You squeeze out, it will be bitter. You squeeze out the water. You do this one and get it. Will not be sweet. It will not be bitter again. You mix it with another one, put together and do like that. Pour plenty oil and bring it out. You bring it out. I say, hey, culture can force you. Change can force you to adjust to cultural shift and traditions of people. You know, you can change in marriage. You can change from your own type of culture, from the tradition you people are observing, to another tradition where you are married into or where you are married from. There are places you marry from. You see yourself being conscious of the culture, of the tradition of the place you married from. You'll be respecting the tradition of the place you marry from, because your wife will carry that culture to you and try to, put the culture the tradition in your own marriage with her as much as just the way she's trying to adapt your own, and you see yourself respecting the tradition you were not born into. That is another type of change that we call it cultural change. It happens and we cannot throw it away. We have some values, we have some beliefs that because of cultural change we face. There are some cultural beliefs that we have, and we may not appreciate them except we meet what we call change. I learned that there are some parts of the state where I stay that if your child does not give birth to, if your daughter doesn't give birth to a child at home, your people will laugh at you, your mates will laugh at you. I say, hey, they say, and number two, that there's another tradition they have where she was pastoring that a woman cannot marry one husband, that the number of husbands a woman marries, it will depict how beautiful that woman is. So if you marry two, you're not fine. You must marry like 5, 6, 7, 8. Marry this one. Whether I have child, whether I've done, you just get up and go, Hey, and you're a minister in that country. You just need to think of how to preach Jesus to them and make sure that they understand. If not, if you don't blend, they can even destroy you overnight. That, by the way, so that is another type of change that can come. Then, and that you have the issue of migration. Yes, all these people that are struggling to japa, or some that have japat, where you japa to and where you japa from, they may have different cultural beliefs and systems. And by the reason of that migration, change has occurred. That what used to happen where you were, you might not be seen all where you are right now. So you begin to adjust. A friend told me that the country where he's living in, that you can just pay for a ticket. Your transportation is assured. If it's like 10 naira or 100 naira, you just pay and buy the ticket, and it covers you for the whole month. So whether you have anywhere you're going or not, you can just enter the vehicle and they drop you at one bus stop. So far your card is still valid for 1 month. You come down, you use the card, enter another one, go back to your house. If you like to do like that the whole of the day without doing anything, it does not bother you. That is the system there. You paid for you to be carried to where you're going to for a whole year. Not that you come out every day, between here and between here you pay 200, between here and between here you pay 1,000, between here and between here you pay. No, that one, they have their system. And when you go to that part of the country, when you get there, you will not be struggling to be checking for keke money, okada money and things like that. Just go to the transport office, pay for your movement in a month, and get ready to be moving up and down. Did you get that now? So that is another type of change that comes. We call it cultural change. And in that cultural change, you can look at globalization. If you look at things happening all over the world, you notice that some things have come to transform also. Things have come to transform also. Things are not the way they used to be. Yes, even in ministry, even in Christianity, we are beginning to witness some things. That's what I'm trying to say. Oh, in UK, we do it this way. In London, we do it this way. In Amsterdam, we do it this way. In Africa, we do it this way. In Congo, we do it this way. They now start, you now be struggling to see if you can meet, even in education. People are struggling to meet up with the global demand of education so that they can compete effectively when they have their counterparts on stage with them. You understand now? So globalization has come to meet us at this platform of change, and you cannot argue with that. Globalization too, the cultural change in globalization has also made us to become conscious of where we send our children. So you don't send your male child to a particular country in the name of, and your child will come back and say, Dad, I'm in love with that boy in that flat. He say, my son, he say, in love with the other boy. I actually proposed to him. We are getting married next week. Beautiful. And now you become conscious of it. Yes, because that is a change that may need to be combated. I give you the last type of change. Then I have here for you today. Then we'll move on. Okay. Now that is financial change. I tell you, change can come in finance. A poor person yesterday can become rich today. A rich person today can become poor tomorrow. Anything can happen. Somebody roaming the street today can become owner of businesses tomorrow. Somebody unemployed today can be earning in dollars the next day. Okay, anything can happen. Yes, and when you come to that financial change, it can affect marital status. It can affect your marriage. It can affect so many things in your family. When there is change in finance, you notice that sometimes what you were not eating before, you see yourself eating. What you could not eat before, you see yourself eating. Or what you were eating before, you see that you're not eating those things again. That is a change. Maybe somebody lost a job. Maybe somebody's business having issue, or somebody suddenly had boom in business like this, contracts everywhere. There might be adjustment in feeding, adjustment in wardrobe, adjustment in mobility, adjustment in education and things like that. So we can experience change in finance. Now, what should we do? Number one, realize that change is inevitable, and you must not feel bad when you notice that your family member is exhibiting changes. Are you getting it now? What you must do is that you must admit that change is happening around you. Change is happening to member of your family, and you cannot throw that away. So as you have that understanding, as you appreciate that, the next is to begin to relate well with that person, because you are matured. You now know that it is not the person's making. I told you that some people meet change, some change comes to meet them. So you cannot blame somebody that is witnessing change. Somebody is adding age, somebody is older today, and you expect the person to still be behaving like when the person was a teenager. It is not true. You just need to tell yourself that this is what is on ground. This is what is on ground, and I just need to live with it. All right, don't forget, this is your family this week with Precious Caleb, and today we are looking at changes in your family members. Changes in your family member. All right. When you notice changes in your family member, I told you, just tell yourself that already you know that change is inevitable, that change is real, that change can occur to anybody, even to you. Looking at me, listening to me right now, change can occur even to you. So you don't blame somebody around. The only thing I would like you to know is that when you notice the change, ask yourself, the change, is it in the positive or in the negative? If the change is in the positive, or the one that is expected of your family member, then it is the correct change. But if the change is in the negative, that is when you sit up and do what you need to do. Okay, so I give you some things that you must look out when you notice change. Notice change in your family member. It is important to approach the situation of change in your family member with utmost care and wisdom. When you notice change in your husband, when you notice change in your wife, you don't open your mouth once. Say, your stomach don't they grow big. Honey, your stomach is low. Other men, their stomach is not like that. Your husband is not other men. Or you tell your wife, it's like you're becoming fairer, you're becoming darker. Other women, don't compare your partner with another person. The change that has come to your family member is to your family member and should not be compared to other persons. Did you get it now? So that you don't run into trouble. Because when all ships are down, it is you and your family member that will be there. So the next thing is, please observe that your family member closely and gather enough information to be sure that this change is real change. It's not when your child that used to eat little comes back and starts eating heavily. You say, oh, Mama Precious said change. No, you need to observe closely to know if your son has started taking some things some things that can make him to be extraordinarily hungry. Did you get that? Or you find out what exactly triggered the change you're witnessing in the life of your family member. Put your eyes on ground and check, because it's your family. Oh, it's your family. It is not a political party. It's your family. It is not a religious group. It is your family, and that is your kingdom. That is where you belong. So you look closely, observe, and gather information you need to gather. If you need to go through some contact, if you need to go through some areas to find out why your husband is behaving this way, why your wife is now like this, why your children, why your parents like it, just please observe and gather information before you do anything. The next thing I would like you to do is please choose an appropriate time and place to talk with that your family member that is exhibiting change. Yes, get appropriate place, a decent place, a good place where you can talk freely with that person on that, and fix the time that is okay for you and the family member you want to talk to. Did you understand? Yes. So it is not when you observe, you gather information, you go and sleep and say, concern me. The day it will concern you, the day it will concern you, you remember this my video. So put your eyes on ground. That we are saying that change is inevitable does not mean that we admit every type of change. Change can be in the positive, can as well be in the negative. If you notice, whether positive or negative, your daughter started looking so beautiful, so beautiful. Please observe your daughter and gather information. And as you have observed, you've gathered information, make out time to take that your daughter to one corner and say, I noticed that you just define. Is there anything mommy needs to know? Is there anything mommy needs to know? Mommy is your friend. Open up and tell mommy. Or you call your son and say, bro, say, this one where you just they find like me, pass me self. I mean, with your baby, your fire. Waiting they happen, waiting they stop. Open up now. See me, I put body here. May we just stand there. Waiting. Your son might open up and tell you that is just that there is one girl that used to buy me clothes now. There is one girl in the neighborhood that used to send me on this, that used to buy shirts for me, that used to send money to me. At that time, you have known what triggered that change you are witnessing in your son or in your daughter. Are you getting it? Our family is our family, and we must be careful how we handle our family. The next thing is, please express your concern with empathy. Don't condemn that your child or your family member outrightly, because with time you may realize that something triggered that thing that caused the change. Something triggered that thing that brought about the change you're witnessing in that your family member. So as much as you can, please be careful as you're discussing that matter. Yes, as much as possible, please just express concern. Let the person know. Just what I'm saying is that this thing, no, let people outside not think that you have too much money. The way you're just doling out cash these days, the way you are appearing, you're changing vehicles and all the stuff. Oh, Guinea, what is it? Tell me and I say, be like, it's okay. I say, I'm just concerned about it because I don't want anything to happen to you. You're a fine boy. I don't want plenty girls to come here now and say that you did something. I beg. That is not. The next one is, please, as you are talking with that your family member, as you are showing concern, please listen actively, not attentively. Listen actively. Let your antenna be strong, because there are some things your family member cannot say and you can perceive it. There are some things that your family will want to say, but will not know how to say it, so that there won't be a quarrel. I'll just keep quiet. But if you're listening actively, you even hear what your family member is not saying, but wishes to say. Did you get it now? So you listen actively. Watch the countenance. Watch body movement. Watch some expressions. Watch some things. Listen actively. In listening actively, you're not listening with just your ears. You're listening with your eyes, your nose, your body, your perception, your brain, every part of you. You're listening with every part of you. Then if the person opens up and you notice that something triggered the change, whether in the positive or the negative, but you've known that, you've seen that the end, the outcome of that change will not be fine. What are you supposed to do? Offer support. Let the person, okay, because we are having problem in this course, that was why the boy or the girl was always around you and started talking and all the stuff. Okay, all right, now let's handle it this way. I want to arrange for somebody to be teaching you this course, because as I'm seeing it, this person is going to destroy you. Okay, yes, offer support. You're always doing this because you don't always have money for this, for that. If it's to be sending the person data from time, your family member data all the time, fine. Like your wife, you subscribe for data, you have like 25 gig, and your wife is struggling to have like 5 gig, and she goes to office where she has plenty admirers, and they want to chat with her all the time. Sometimes they send data to her, sometimes they subscribe monthly one for her. About 2-3 different men will subscribe monthly ones for her. Bro, say you don't lose your wife be that too. You don't lose your wife be that. And your wife will come back and be gisting and be happy and be talking about things you watched on internet, YouTube, and all the stuff. And you didn't ask yourself, but my wife was complaining of data. How did my wife get data to be watching all these things? Now that you have noticed it, you have observed, you gathered information, you had time to discuss, you should show concern. As you have shown, say, okay, fine, because okay, fine, I'm sorry, all right, let's do it this way. I'll be subscribing for you. Because what you don't give your wife, there are many men out there that are ready to give your wife what you don't want to give her. And no, even if your wife is in her 90s, there are men in that her age bracket that are dying for her, because men grow with their age. Maybe we'll discuss that next time. You say, hey, my wife is now an old woman, my wife is in her 70s, so no man will check her. I tell you, men in the 80s and 90s, they are looking for your wife in her 70s and 80s. Women, you know what I'm saying? I say, oh, my husband is old though, he doesn't have time, nothing they stand again. I tell you, some men don't even need the thing to stand though. They just want to stay and see somebody that will be reminding them that thing used to stand. Are you getting what I'm saying? I'm painting it because I don't know those that are listening to what I'm saying, but you have understanding, you can pick what I'm saying. So offer support. So what you do is, somebody can stay and burn hours and assist your wife, assist your husband, to interpret his or her dream, and you just be there snoring, dressing fine, and smiling happily, going for Bible study, night vigil, and all the stuff. Stay there and be joking. Hey, life has not met you. There is change that is occurring in the life of your partner. Yes, in your family member, there is a change taking place. And that change might not be a good one for you. So what do? You offer support. The next one, if he's the type that has gone to a level that your support will not be anything, then you seek for professional assistance. If your wife has been wounded, if your wife has been traumatized, or your husband has been so shattered that all you have been trying to do to bring him together or bring her again up is not working out, you can stretch asking for professional assistance. If it's to get a counselor, a psychologist, or a therapist and all the stuff, you can do that. It will so help. Then please respect their autonomy. Did you get that? Yes. Some people do not know that everybody craves for this power of autonomy, where the person can on his or her own take decisions on what suits him or her. So in all you're doing, make sure that you allow them that fresh air of autonomy, that when you have said what you want to say, when you have done the suggestions, when you have told them, please give them space to take decisions. You will not force them. If you have misbehaved for years, you don't expect your wife or your husband to change over days. No, your own over the years. Now you want your wife to change over the days. It doesn't work like that. So just do your own and allow that person the autonomy, so that gradually, as the person reasons, watching what you're doing, what you're bringing to the table, the person will now decide whether to change, in the way you want or not. But just know that it is left for the person to decide on whether to change backwards towards you or to be changing forward and be going. That's it. All right, I give you this last one, then we pray. Stay engaged and available. One of the reasons why changes occur sometimes in the negative in our relationships is because we don't make ourselves available for our family members. Now that you have noticed that in all your busyness, trying to save the whole world, trying to make the whole money, trying to win all elections, trying to be the most happening politician, to be the richest person as so place in here. Now you have seen it too. Yes, you have tried, but you're now witnessing some changes that are not favorable to your marriage, to your relationship, changes that are not favorable to your homes. Are you not supposed to think of what to do at this point? Then you just need to sit up immediately and act. And in your acting, basically, you just need to be available. Make yourself available. You know that your being unavailable contributed to some changes that forced themselves into your marriage, into your family. Now that you have learned your mistakes, you have seen where you didn't do it well, I would suggest, I'm not forcing you, that you start making yourself available for your family member. Make yourself available for your wife. Make yourself available for your husband. Make yourself available for your parents. Make yourself available for your children. Because the time will come, those are family members, you will not have them again. And you begin to regret the time you were keeping outside as busy and not having time for your family members. Some time ago, I did a talk here on the pain of missing a partner, something like that. Just go through my videos. You can go to my YouTube and get it. Sometimes one of the tortures you get when you don't have a family member around is realizing what you could have done for that your family member. It was in your power to do it, but you just did not do it. It can bring unending pain. So I say try and make yourself available. And I want to also say that before the change comes to a level that doesn't bless your family, it doesn't do good to your family, your relationship, or your marriage, I suggest that making yourself available for your family member can curtail any type of offensive change that can occur. So make yourself available. Hug your wife from time to time. Hug your children. Hug your parents. Hug your husband. It is your own. Now you get that one. My husband will look at me and say, Precious, you see, now me own you like that. I say, Precious, now you own me. What is my gragra? What I do outside? As I do a gragra, look for trouble, preach or vibrate or speak in tongues, do everything. After I hear the, now me and you they here. Are you getting me? And sometimes we'll come out and say, bosses, say now me and you. I say now me and you. Now we dey here. I look at my children and say, hey, we do it often. I say, children, so God look us like this. Can't bring on a dash us. Our children will smile and be happy. Yes. We make them feel that we appreciate them. And they look at us and say, Mommy, you are the best mommy. I don't know how many mommies they have had to rate me to be the best. And I'm cool with that. They say, Daddy, you are the best. And you sit with them, you watch the cartoon to be sure of what they are watching. You stay with them. Me, I'm not a cartoon person. I'm too busy for that. But their father can sit and watch with them. They say, that is the cool parent. This don't no concern me. Me, I just day kitchen. I day my table. I am reading. I am cooking. I'm tidying the house. I'm doing other things. I'm praying other things. We all have our own, but I just have to be available for my children. You cannot confuse me with engagement outside that I cannot spend time with my children. No, because this is the people that God put directly into my hands, plus other people around me. And whatever that I make out of them, whatever change I allow in them, is the change that will manifest tomorrow. And if it doesn't make heaven proud, then I've failed God. And I told myself I'm not going to fail God, because I promised God that giving me children will be an avenue for me to show him how much I love him. So you just need to take that decision right now and make sure that you make yourself available for your family member. It will help in so many ways to make sure that the change that occurs will be the change you have understanding of, you can adapt to, you can appreciate. And I tell you, your marriage will be sweet, your home will be peaceful, and your relationship will be so successful. The Lord bless you. Precious Caleb is my name. I'm your friend, and from time to time I'll come under the umbrella of family of Focus International, to present to you your family this week with Precious Caleb. God bless you. I love you. I love you. I love you. See ya next.